The faith, because it's not based upon understanding and real knowledge, it's usually superficial. And what happens is, this faith quickly becomes what you would say a reason for doubt and disbelief whenever they have to face the hardships and challenges of life. They never reap the rewards of true faith because the faith is superficial. Now, how do we develop that real, steadfast faith? I mentioned to you in the very beginning that real faith depends upon true knowledge. You know what Tulsidas said? Jane binu na hoi paratiti, binu paratiti hohi nahi priti. Knowledge, the byproduct of right knowledge, is faith. So let me tell you what is the most important knowledge that we need to feed into the mind in order to develop the real faith. The first knowledge is, He, that Supreme Being, is always with me. I am not alone. Each and every religion, each and every book of scripture tells you, He, the Supreme Being, is all-pervading, and He, the Supreme Being, resides within each and every soul. Listen to the lofty truths of the Upanishads. Eko Deva Sarvabhuteshu Guda Sarvavyapi Sarvabhutantaratma. Mantra 6:11 of the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Listen to the Gita. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hriddeshe Junatishtati, 18th chapter, 61st verse. Dvasu parda sayuja sakhaya samanam riksham parikhasva jate. Shvetashvatara Upanishad number 4:6. He resides within you. Now, if we are able to constantly feed this truth into the mind, He is all-pervading. He is watching me all the time. He's a witness. Sakshi cheta kevalu nirgunascha. Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6:11 said, He's a witness. Remember that. He's not like these temporary cameras you have on the to watch your speed on the motorway. That is a constant camera fitted, watching you. Once a teacher was explaining this truth to his students in the class, and in order to just test them how much they had understood, he told these children, I want you to bring back tomorrow something from your house. Literally, he meant just steal something. It may be just a pen, or maybe a little bit of money, or maybe a pen, whatever it may be. Just take it and bring it to the class tomorrow. I'll explain why, when nobody is watching you. Okay? It's fine. So each and every child brought something or the other which they had very, very stealthily put into their bags when nobody is watching them. Everybody bought something. One boy didn't bring anything. How come you haven't brought anything from your house? Well, because I was never alone. What do you mean? Was somebody watching you all the time? Yes. Didn't you say yesterday that God is that invisible Supreme Being who is constantly watching you? So how could I steal anything? He was watching me, so I couldn't bring anything. I'm sorry. The teacher said, you are the only person in the class who have understood the lesson that I gave yesterday. Some of you must have heard about it's a true story in the life of the saint Tulsidas. He had constructed this temple, And once thieves got into the temple in the middle of the night, and they stole all the silver or whatever utensils, gold utensils. Long back I'm talking about. But when they wanted to escape from the door, they found these two armed people standing there with bows and arrows. Strong, sturdy people. The thieves ran to the next door. They were there again. They ran to the third door and they were standing there again, and they got really scared. What they did was, they put all the utensils and silver back to where it was, and they decided, कि कम से कम भाग जाए यहाँ से, कोई हमको पकड़ न ले. But when they went to the door again, they couldn't go out. They were stopped by these two strong people standing there at the door. You can read the story, it's all there, or even on the internet. I heard it when I was a child. Anyway, eventually they spent the night in the temple because they couldn't escape. And in the morning when Tulsidas came to the temple, they fell at his feet, asked for forgiveness, and they changed completely. And Tulsidas mentioned to them, it was no one else but Ram and Lakshman. They are always there to protect me. So if you are able to develop this faith, you will never feel insecure. You will be freed from fear as well. I am not alone. He is with me. You must have visited, you must have been to a lunatic asylum. I don't mean being mad. You must have probably visited one. You know, if you look at the history of the patients over there, most of them, the reason for their mental illness is insecurity and lack of love. Most of them. So, this faith that I am not alone, He is there with me, that all-powerful Supreme Being, He resides within me and He is with me. This faith can be so strong that we can go through the calamities, the challenges of life with a very strong, you could say, a fearlessness. Let me tell you about a recent episode of great faith. 1985, a TWA flight was hijacked over the Mediterranean. The pilot was named John Testaker, and he was a man of great faith. And the people who hijacked the flight were very staunch Muslims, and they even went to the extent of killing a passenger, just to show that they meant business. They probably wanted release of some prisoners in Beirut, whatever, in the Middle East. So this man, the pilot, John Testaker, his strong faith kept him going through 17 days of this traumatic experience. This lasted for 17 days. And these hijackers, they would have often to threaten him because they wanted to fill fuel, then they would go back to and fro. So they would often have this hand grenade jammed against his cheek and the nozzle of the pistol behind on his neck. But his faith never wavered. And eventually, after 17 days, those passengers were released and his faith won. Now we will have to put this into practice. If you are not already doing it, first we have to use our imagination. You've heard of Brother Lawrence, a great Christian saint? This was his main practice. He is with me, He is mine. He is with me, He is mine. This is all he would remind himself, and eventually experienced it. And let me tell you one important fact. If you are able to practice this, this is greater than any kind of ritual you may be doing, any kind of havan you may be doing, any kind of japa you may be doing, or any kind of fasting. This is the greatest spiritual discipline that you can practice.